What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning David Benavidez and Jamal Charlo. David Benavidez to Jamal Charlo, he states that we want Canelo both, so let's earn a shot at him by fighting each other. David Benavidez and Jamal Charlo flat out don't like each other. The two have spent the past several months throwing verbal haymakers at one another over social media and whenever a microphone is present. Although Charlo campaigns at 160, Benavidez, yet once the two-time former super middleweight titleist, openly took him up on his offer. Charlo seemingly backtracked, claiming that he wouldn't face anyone under the age of 25, and also stated that if Benavidez wanted to fight him, he would have to squeeze down to 160. While Benavidez and Charlo appear to be polar opposites with a clear disdain for each other, they do share one thing in common. They both want to take on Canelo Alvarez. And of course, he says, we both want Canelo, said Benavidez. He said, let's earn a shot at him by fighting each other. The winner gets Canelo. How about that? Okay, let me counterpunch. David Benavidez and Jamal Charlo. Jamal Charlo is at 160. Benavidez is 6 pounds north, 8 pounds north. And I'm looking at these two. I would love to see the fight. They're both PBC fighters. The fight can be made, and I think that the fight should be made. Why? Because if Jamal can't get fights like Chris Eubank Jr., like Boo Boo Andrade, like those type of fights, you know, the Golovkin fight, hopefully that could happen. But we heard that, or we hear rather, that Golovkin is in talks with Boo Boo Andrade. So we'll see how far that goes. I'm not really optimistic about that either way. You know what I'm saying? I'm really not, for a lot of reasons. But if Jamal can't get that, I don't think that he should start or keep having restrictions on people about their age. You know, I won't fight anybody under 25. What's that have to do with anything? You know what I mean? I think it would be weight. I think you would want to get that guy out of there and have him on your record because he's making a name for himself. Jamal Charlo is the regular WBC champion, but then it's like, hey, I have a kingdom, but I don't really have much equity in my kingdomship. You know what I'm saying? It's like he needs to fight someone, you know, and I love what he did with Deverenchenko, but like, hey, we have to continue that. We have to do more, you know, and I think whatever comes to him, I think he should oblige that and keep it coming. But like, age shouldn't have anything to do with it. And David has the right idea because he knows, like, hey, we both haven't really done what we could do to get this fight. I think Jamal should be obligated since Canelo Alvarez is still a champion at middleweight, more so than David. But David knows himself that I ain't really done, you know, that much. I knocked myself out not making weight and this, that, and the other. So that's why I'm not fighting Canelo over Caleb Plant. Okay, so I think at the end of the day, David wants to earn his shot, but then that would be a tough road to walk down fighting Jamal Charlo. So you have to give David credit for at least wanting that fight. Okay, but then here's the roadblock for David Benavidez. Wasn't it Canelo Alvarez that said he didn't want to fight Mexican fighters? So Jamal Charlo ain't the only person with a roadblock. Okay, it's also Canelo Alvarez because Jamal says, hey, you're too young, you're not over 25, and Canelo says, I'm sorry, but your skin is brown, therefore I can't mess around with you. So I know I can understand why David wants to go down that road. I would say this, forget Canelo Alvarez at the minute because he may go to 175. And as far as Jamal Charlo, if he wants to take him up on that offer, he could go down to 160 and fight him. You know, I know he's a taller guy, but you have to ask yourself this question. Does he have trouble making weight at 168? Because if he does, I wouldn't go down to 160 because he's a dead man. He will get destroyed. As Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., you know, the heavyweight Mexican that really should have been way up fighting at cruiserweight for a long time now, you know. So, you know, you have to go with nature and not against it in that regard. So I think David Benavidez, if he does or can make that weight comfortably and he does feel good at 160, why not take the challenge? But then again, that's if Jamal Charlo wants it. And Canelo Alvarez has his career mapped out with his new promoter, Eddie Hearn. You know, now he wants Arthur Beterbiev, so it's our Bivol. And both of those guys would be ideal fights for those other guys, except for certain groups, you know. Fight boo-boo. You know, I'm like, dude, Andrade. You know, Andrade has to fight one of these guys that I'm talking about. He could fight one of these guys. I mean, especially Jamal. Get a fight with Jamal. Get a fight with Golovkin. Get a fight with somebody else. But that's Boo-Boo Andrade, okay? But anyhow, I think it's a good idea. I think, but I also think that it's not a realistic one because, you know, I think he would have a better chance of fighting Jamal Charlo over Canelo Alvarez for, you know, more than a few reasons. And I think, you know, forget trying to earn a spot. I think he should just earn the stripe of getting Jamal Charlo in the ring and beating Jamal Charlo, and then vice versa. But anyway, that's my counterpunch on David Benavidez for calling out Jamal Charlo. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.